Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whenever it is that you hear this message, I pray that you're poised to receive, to accept, and to respond to words of wisdom. Ashe. You know, the nature of every problem, usually, not every problem, many problems, many problems, and let's say really problems that are avoidable, preventable problems, they arise because you don't know how you got yourself into the problem. So, in other words, you don't know how your car operates, and that's how you blew the engine out because you didn't know and understand that you needed to put oil in the car, or you didn't put water in the car. Relationship, communication problems. You came into problems because you didn't know how to read another person's behavior. You didn't know how to communicate properly with another person. You have health problems because you didn't know how to balance, your diet and your exercise and your lifestyle, et cetera, et cetera. Mental problems, emotional problems, money problems. They have in common that you create problems for yourself largely because you don't know how something operates, and therefore you misuse it, or you don't condition it or maintain it in the way it needs to be maintained. And so because of that, when it comes time to solve the problem, you also don't know what to do, right? And so you come to somebody, if it's a psychologist or a physician or a mechanic or a dentist or a babalawo, and you want help solving the problem. And so then they give you the remedy. Do this and don't do that, right? And then it becomes a question of you doing all of the things that the specialist has recommended in exactly the way that they are recommending it. Then it becomes a question of you really trusting the process. You being willing to work through this awkward phase of doing something different, doing something that you're not familiar with, doing something that you may not even truly believe in, long enough to get the desired results, right? To understand, oh, this works, but then doing it long enough to adopt a new lifestyle, to take on new habits, to enjoy a different perspective and mindset, right? So there's two phases of the change, really, of the transformation. There is that first phase where you need to change long enough to get the desired effects. Let's say, for example, you go to the doctor, you got an infection, they give you antibiotics. Yeah, sure, you take the antibiotics for 4 days and then the swelling goes away or whatever. You get some relief. But the prescription says take these antibiotics for 10 days. 4 days, you're going to stop seeing the symptoms. But it's going to take 10 days in order for the foreign elements to be totally obliterated. See, you could stop after 4 days and think that you have solved your problem, but you haven't. So you got to take it the full 10 days in order to get the full effect. Likewise, right, with your money, with your health, with your emotions, everything is very similar. You've got to trust the process all the way to the end. And that's the part where I want to really drop a lesson on you. You don't, as a matter of fact, you don't know what it takes to transform your life. That's why you go to people who are specialists, because they're going to give you the recipe not just for alleviating the immediate symptoms, but for reprogramming your lifestyle and your mindset, right? Sometimes you have to act your way into a higher level of consciousness. You got to act your way onto a higher frequency, even though you don't know what you're doing. You're relearning, you're reprogramming, you're reorientating yourself, and it takes time, it takes patience, it takes diligence, and it takes follow through. Okay? When it comes to spiritual matters, the thing that I want you to know is that I have never, ever seen somebody who makes a sacrifice, for example, and a sacrifice for money, but then they don't have a job, they don't go get a job, they don't invest money, the little money that they get, they squander it. I've never seen a person make a sacrifice for money and act that way and end up wealthy. I've never seen it. I've never seen a person make a sacrifice for health, stay up late, drink soda all the time, eat junk food, not exercise, and become healthy. I've never seen that happen. I've never seen a person make a sacrifice for good relationships, be rude, disrespectful, inconsiderate, impatient, and end up in loving, healthy relationships. I've never seen that. I've never, ever seen that. But I have seen people on the other side of the equation save their money, invest their money, increase their income, and end up maybe not rich, but they end up in a better financial position than they were last year. I've seen people make no sacrifice for relationships, say, may I, please, thank you, exercise patience, kindness, and consideration, and be deemed a good person and see their relationships improve. Either the relationships that they had with people, previous relationships with people, or they start new relationships and it ends up well for them. I've seen people make no sacrifice for health, but they exercise, they eat well, they stay hydrated, they listen to positive affirmations, and they speak positively about themselves and other people. And I've seen those people end up healthier. I've seen that. So even though I myself am a ritual specialist, I am an Ifa priest, and I am a devotee, and I believe, and I know that Orisha is a real thing, and I know that our medicine works. I can't pretend that if you just make the ebo and you just take the medicine, whatever you want is going to come into fruition no matter how you behave. I can't tell you that. That would be dishonest. Right? I have to tell you, just from my experience with living life and watching people over years and decades, I have to tell you, hey, this is really the best practice across the board. If you sacrifice or not, if you change your behavior, if you act in a certain way, if you adopt a certain mindset, you take on certain habits, you discipline yourself in a certain way, I can almost guarantee that you're going to get positive impact. The outcomes are going to be better for you. I have to tell you that because that's what I've seen and that's what I've lived. Right? Now, once you adopt certain best practices across the board, when you add to that divination, sacrifice, observances, medicine, then you get breakthroughs. And that is absolutely the case. And that's what I want for my people. I want for you to approach this tradition and this lifestyle from both sides of the equation, from all sides of the equation. I need you to know and understand that you have to act your way into a higher frequency. And you have to add to that, enhance that with spiritual work. Spiritual work by itself is not going to transform your life. It may give you some short-term benefits. It may create some short-term outcomes, but it's not going to transform your life. Transformation is an inside job. You want to transform your money, you want to transform your health, you want to transform anything, you've got to behave differently. So that's the lesson for the day. I hope it's meaningful, and I really, really would like your feedback. So let me know what you think and how you feel. and we can keep living the medicine that will heal your life and heal the lives that you're destined to serve. Odapo.